Clay McKinney, Developer On-Ramp, Introduction to CSS for Developers. This is the section on the box model, but we're taking an aside. This has nothing to do with the box model. This is about styling links. And we've already got a little bit of style here. We styled all of our anchor tags to have a font weight of bold, except we didn't style all of the anchor tags. We styled all of the anchor tags inside the header. The HTML header is this section up here. So you can see that these are bold and these that are not in the header are not bold. Well, with links, there are other differences too, besides location. First of all, not all anchor tags are links. An anchor tag with a href attribute is a link, but anchor tags, I mean, that's not required. It's the only thing it does, but it's not required. People used to give anchor tags a name and not an href, and use it as an anchor target, but now they just use the ID attribute for that, and the ID attribute can be on any element, so that's a sort of vestigial. Okay, so here's what I came to say. Notice that our visited links, the ones that the browser remembers having been visited, are purple, and the ones that the browser doesn't really remember having been visited are blue. So that's the difference between links and visited links. And you can style those differently. Let's see, I'm going to say that, let's keep it in the header. And all of our visited links are going to be color red. Probably going to look terrible. We'll change it in a minute. All right, we'll save that and refresh. There we go. So only our visited links changed. Our unvisited link did not. Okay, now this is a weird syntax that's never been talked about before here. So this colon introduces a pseudo class. A pseudo class is a class that isn't typed in to the source code. Like if we go in here, I'm going to right click and say view page source. Okay, so this anchor tag here inside of the header, we have anchor tags inside the header. They don't say class equals visited or class equals unvisited, right? But we can still target that it's a class that hasn't been typed in. It's a class that's determined dynamically by the browser at runtime. You can think of it that way. Okay, so it's called a pseudo class, and this isn't the only pseudo class in the world, but this is the first and most commonly talked about. So all of our links have a pseudo class of link. So it's a : link. This will target all of them. So if we want to target all of them with a rule. Actually, let's make that a separate rule. We'll target all of them with a rule. And let's see, we will, what do we want to do? Let's target all of them with a rule that makes them all italic. How's that? Okay. Okay, saved it. Okay, so now they're all italic. So this rule here where I said font weight was bold, why didn't I make it for a : link? I could have. I just, at the time, I didn't want to talk about pseudo classes. Okay, so we'll do that. Actually, let's tab it in. Okay, so same result, same exact result, because we haven't used our anchor tag anywhere without it being a link. So link is for all links, visited is for visited links, Incidentally, you may have, in your example that you're working on at home, you may have already visited all your links in a way that your browser remembers it. You could try clearing your cache or going into incognito mode or something like that to give it a fresh start, and then you can play with the difference between visited and unvisited links. Now, a lot of times on a lot of pages, you will want to style the links and the visited links the same way, because I mean, you don't. It's kind of ugly clutter sometimes for it to give you a visual indication of which ones you've seen and which ones you haven't seen. It's also kind of useful information sometimes, depending on what kind of thing it is. Like if it's a list and you're afraid that they're going to lose their place, well, then you might want to make it different. So it's totally up to you. But a lot of times the links and the visited links get the exact same treatment. There's two others: hover and active. Okay, what do you think hover is going to do? We'll make it background white. Okay, save that. I'll go refresh it. Isn't that cool? When you hover, it changes. It does whatever you say to do, but I told it to make the background white. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then active. We'll say background is let's make it 999999, which is gray, kind of a medium gray. Saved it. I'm going to go refresh it. Okay, now active means it's not when you hover. You have to get it selected. So if I click on it, did you see how when it was the mouse is down, it's gray? Okay. So that's how it works. Okay. The order of these is important. This applies to all of them. This applies to all of the visited ones. This applies to all of them that are being hovered over. And this is the ones that are being hovered over and are clicked, your mouse is down. So the order matters because this one is more specific, so it just gets confused. The way you remember the order, other than the fact that it's somewhat intuitive, right? Because it's more and more specific. This is the most generic. This is the most specific. But also you can remember love, LV, and hate, HA, love, hate. Nice little mnemonic. I remembered there was a mnemonic. I couldn't remember what the mnemonic was, so I did a search. And this is where I found it, CSS tricks. But it's older than that. They didn't make it up, I don't think. Maybe they did a long time ago. But anyway, CSStricks.com, CSS-tricks.com. Little shout out to you. Love, hate, LVHA. Okay, now we are going to take this knowledge of links and our knowledge of our box model, and we're going to redesign our page a little bit and make it look cooler, I hope. So that's what we'll be doing next. Thanks.